Hey you guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks so much for coming back for another video. If you haven't already watched my what's in my wallet, how many credit cards do I have video, I would suggest you head over to that video and give it a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Okay, so for today's video, I decided to do like a Q&A type video. I got a lot of responses, DMs, and comments about the previous video that I just mentioned. Just some questions concerning like how I operate with the credit cards, why I have so many of them, etc., etc. So I thought I would come in this video and respond to all the questions that I got. So it's Sunday afternoon, y'all, so I'm actually going to just pour myself a glass of rosé. This one drinks today. And I'm going to just have a little bit of that while we chat about credit cards. Okay, y'all, so let's get into the questions. The first question I got about the previous video was, what is my strategy for all of my credit cards? So to answer that, basically my strategy when it comes to applying for new credit cards is if I know that I have a large purchase coming up, then usually that's when I'm going to apply for a new card. I don't really just apply for cards randomly. All of them have been in response to like a large, knowing that I'm going to have a large purchase coming up, because that's the easiest way to get the sign-up bonuses. I never apply for a new card and then just do random spending or spending more money than I need to spend just to get the sign-up bonus. It's always, I know that I'm about to have to spend a certain amount of money, so I might as well get some sort of reward, some sort of sign-up bonus just for doing that. If I was going to do it anyway, why not get something extra from doing it? For example, before I relocated from Chicago, I knew I was going to have a lot of big purchases coming up, you know, buying new furniture, putting down deposits on things like that. So it just made sense to get a new card. So that was when I actually got my two newest cards, the AmEx Delta card and then the Southwest Rewards card. And I was able to meet both of those sign-up bonuses just from spending the money that I was going to have to spend in order to complete my relocation. So that worked out perfectly for me. It did not put me into any sort of debt, any interest on the cards, because I already had the money for the relocation. I just decided to use two brand new cards and get two brand new sign-up bonuses versus using a card that I already had and, you know, getting barely any points for those purchases. So that's how I like to do it. Once the sign-up bonus is out of the way, I usually just use the cards like normal. I try to keep the accounts active because I don't want any of my cards to get closed for not using them for a year or 2 years or something like that. So I do make small purchases on each card, usually every month or every couple of months, just to keep the accounts open. So the next question that I got was, how do I remember all of the APY rates and credit card limits for so many different cards? The easiest and quickest answer to that is that I don't. I don't actually pay attention to APYs, and so that's like the interest rates on each card, and I don't really pay attention to the credit card limits that I get when I'm approved for a new card. The reason for this is because those things don't actually affect me with the way that I use my credit cards. I never carry a balance, so I never get interest on my credit cards. So the interest rate on a card doesn't actually matter for me since I use it like a debit card. Also, the spending limit on the cards don't actually matter for me because I'm never going to be spending that much money. I spend according to my budget. So clearly I would not have a spending budget of $10,000. So if a card has a $10,000 limit, that means nothing for me because I'm never going to be spending that much. I'm never going to be putting anywhere near that much money on a card. Next, I was asked about my credit score and how having so many different credit cards could negatively affect my credit score. In response to that, having so many credit cards does not negatively impact the credit score. Having a good balance of different accounts and different cards actually is good for your credit score. The only time that having so many cards is going to affect the credit score, or for mine personally, is when I apply for a new card. And that's because that's adding a new inquiry to my report. Once a month or so goes by and I'm using the card healthily, then my points come right back up. So having this many accounts has actually benefited me and my credit score, because each time I get a new card, once the whole inquiry part is out of the way, my score goes up because now I've increased my amount of credit. You want to have a higher amount of credit because that's showing that you're responsible and will pay back. You're capable of paying back a higher amount of money, which makes you more credit worthy, I guess. And so that actually makes your score go up more. So every time that I'm approved for a new card and my amount of credit goes up, my credit score jumps up. Next, probably the biggest question that I got from the most people was, how and why can I survive without a debit card? So the simple answer to that is that I have no benefit if I'm using a debit card. There's nothing in it for me besides spending my own money. So if I can get some sort of added benefit for spending my money, then that's what I'm going to do with it. And that's the difference between a credit card and a debit card for me, because I use the credit cards as if they were debit cards. You can spend $1 over here and just spend $1, or you could spend $1 over here and somebody gives you another $1. I mean, which one are you going to choose? Also, an even bigger reason why I prefer to use credit cards over spending my own money with debit cards is because a debit card is literally your money. It's coming immediately out of your account, versus the credit card is the bank's money. So if my credit cards are stolen and someone tries to charge up a bunch of money on them, that does not affect me. So I've actually had this happen where someone intercepted a new card of mine and then tried to charge hundreds of dollars on this card, and that didn't affect me at all, because almost always the institution is going to shut that down as quickly as possible, because that's their money and they're not going to allow someone to steal their money. Now, had that been a debit card that had gotten intercepted and somebody tried to charge hundreds of dollars, that would have immediately came out of my account, and I would have been the one inconvenienced until the situation got cleared up and, reported it to fraud or something like that. So that means it's not my money being jeopardized, and I like to have that safety net. So the last thing I'm going to talk about today was why I dislike AmEx. A few people asked why I dislike AmEx so much, and what benefits I get from using Chase cards or Visa cards that I don't get with AmEx. So the biggest reason why I just don't prefer AmEx, I prefer Chase cards or just Visa cards in general to AmEx cards, is because AmEx is not accepted in 100% of places or situations or whatever. I got my new card and I consistently forgot about this, and so I did run into a couple situations where I could not complete my transactions because AmEx was not accepted, and so it was just very frustrating for me. The other reason I just prefer the Chase cards or the Visa cards is just because Chase and AmEx have pretty much the same transfer partners in the rewards programs. So if it's easier for me to get points through Chase and then transfer them to the exact same partners that I could transfer with AmEx, I'm just going to do it with Chase. The only situation where this is not true is with the Marriott Bonvoy partner program. With Chase, every single partner transfers points at a 1-to-1 ratio, so you don't really have to do any calculations. It's super easy. With AmEx, most of their partners are 1-to-1 ratio. However, the Marriott Bonvoy is actually a 2-to-3 transfer points ratio. So you can get a huge chunk of essentially free Marriott points just by transferring from Amex to Marriott versus Chase to Marriott. So an example of this would be if I had 100,000 just points. If I had those points with Chase and I tried to convert them to Marriott points, I would still have 100,000 points. Pretty simple. If I had 100,000 points and I wanted to transfer them to Marriott through Amex, I would then have 150,000 points, which is a huge difference. In that situation, Amex actually trumps Chase. And that's kind of a big deal for me because it does kind of motivate me to try more Amex cards, because that could be the difference between 3 free nights and 4 free nights at a Marriott hotel somewhere, you know. So for that one specific reason, I am still open to Amex cards, but for right now, I'm just more comfortable sticking to my Chase cards and my Visa cards. So that's just what I'm doing. Okay, so that's all the questions I have for today, guys. Thanks so much for supporting, liking, leaving comments, sending messages with questions for me to answer in this video. I really appreciate everybody who is supporting this channel and helping me make my 2022 goals come true. If you have any other questions or interests, things that you would like me to share or talk about on this channel, leave a comment below, send me a message. I'll definitely get back to you. But other than that, thanks again, guys, for tuning in, and until next time.